Just in time.
Well, Doug, school's out today. The young ones are running around.
I didn't know that.
For a loop. What can I say?
I didn't know that. Oh, it's Veterans Day.
You did?
It's Veterans Day. I did know it was Veterans Day, but I forgot that schools are out on Veterans Day. Shout out to the veterans. Shout out to the parents, too.
Shout out to the vets.
Like David.
For sure.
Shout out to the veteran parents.
Yeah, shout out to us.
Double M15, what up,
just the 2 of us on a Fun Friday?
What?
Just the 2 of us on a Fun Friday?
That answer your question? Any questions?
Any questions? Oh no!
Did you now? Hold on.
Doug,
I know we're way beyond Halloween at this point, but did you watch the David Pumpkins cartoon special?
I got about 10 minutes into it, and that's where I left it. I haven't finished it. Did you watch the whole thing?
I did. Why did you not? Were you just not into it?
Yeah, I don't think I had the time to dedicate to it, and I just tried to flip it on to see what was happening with it, and then I never went back.
So many, it's just so many inside jokes. You gotta really dedicate time to it. Make sure you're digging in. It was good. I liked it.
I do. Yeah.
All right, we got quote in the chat. Jack in the chat.
I believe you.
Kevin in the chat. Steven in the chat. Jack saying, what is Locked On Hornets? Its own thing. And Doug and David are part of it. Oh, good. The problem with this sound program that I have is I've used the ducking feature. Ducking is a term that means putting the music underneath us when we talk. And it's automatic when I hit the button. But then all the rest of my sound effects are ducked. So I'm going to figure out a solution for this. This is the time when you're in the Locked On Lounge, you get some behind the scenes action.
That's right. One last shout out, if I could, Doug.
Please.
It's Friday shout out. Shout out to the moments. Last shout out to the season. We had our postseason banquet last night. It was fantastic. We gathered at the Pizza Peel on Central Avenue, and it was a hard-fought season, Doug. I never told you what happened in the playoffs, but we still have the trophy from last year. That's all I'll say. It was a hard-fought season.
Oh.
Yeah.
You are Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
This is Locked On Hornets, your daily podcast on the Charlotte Hornets and the NBA. We are proud members of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Search your podcast app for Locked On to get podcast on the NBA, the NFL, and fantasy sports. Make sure to check out Locked On Panthers with host Bill Rossetti to get you ready for Sunday's action. I'm Doug Branson, joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the suddenly sad about the end of the Moments season, David Walker.
Never be sad about the moments, Doug. There's always another one around the corner.
You got to cherish it. Quote wants to know how you're enjoying your new phone, your iPhone X, iPhone 10.
Oh man, thanks for asking.
Is
guys.
it iPhone? Is it iPhone excellent?
It's
wow.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really changed my life. I never knew how much time I wasted putting my thumb on the screen. Now I just waste it staring right at the screen, waiting for it to unlock. It's really something else.
Sounds incredible. How are you?
Man.
The reason I didn't want to get the X is because of the little black strip at the. It's not totally right. I've shared this before. So how does that work? Are you okay with that?
You just forget about it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't worry about that.
All right, let's forget about this conversation. I want to talk. Gotta get serious here for just 1 second. The Hornets are getting healthy just in time as the early season success that they were able to pull their bootstraps up, get some early season wins, it's given way to road weariness and defensive malaise. But as we discussed yesterday, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has rejoined the team in time to practice, so he will play tonight against the Celtics, and he will start. Head coach Steve Clifford sounded anxious to get MKG back into the lineup after multiple games where the defense has been MIA.
Yeah, we got to get to our groups, and I don't know how many minutes he'll be able to play, but you know what? We're 11 games in. Those guys are here, and obviously we won't be able to get to the normal rotations here. It'll take some time, but it's at the end of the day, it's what we're doing anyway. You know what I mean? We're just we're just making our way until they get back. So when they get back, they're going to start, and then we'll get to our playing groups that way.
David, does Clifford sound a little frustrated there to you?
A little exasperated, perhaps, maybe.
That's a good word.
He's ready to get to those groups, man. That's what it's all about for this team. I mean, he's got to be frustrated. I mean, think of all the changes he's had to make, and we're only 10 games in. I mean, he's just trying to piece things together, trying to get everybody healthy.
Yeah, he's had to play. I mean, he's had to sub a lot for matchups and they've struggled because you're missing your player that makes your offense go, that greases the wheels of your second unit in Nick Batum, and then you're missing your best defensive player, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, the guy that you can put on the team's primary scorer. So yeah, I would say he's frustrated by the circumstances that have surrounded this early period of the season, a period in which we knew that the schedule was going to be very difficult. They've got the Celtics tonight. They follow it up with the Cavaliers next week. Some tough matchups. I think they have the Spurs twice. They've already played them once, and they've got them again soon. So Jack on the chat asking, do we know who Boston is starting if Horford is out? Probably Marcus Morris. We'll get to a Boston preview here in a bit, but Marcus Morris will probably step in for – well, Baines is already starting at center because they've been going Horford-Baines. So they'll probably go Marcus Morris-Baines. So you'll see Baines on Dwight Howard, that physical matchup that I'm looking forward to. You Double M15 saying Clifford's a defensive coach and we are bad at defense. He is pissed.
That's not untrue. Let me ask you this, Doug. If I had told you, given all the injuries, and I told you that MKG was going to be in and out, here about half the time, would you have taken this record to start the season? I mean, it's no great shakes, but it's not like they're out of it. You know what I mean?
Well, they've gotten some great play from Dwayne Bacon. They've gotten a few great games from Malik Monk. I mean, they've been really lucky in that regard, in that they could ask those two rookies to hold that much water this early in their NBA career. And Clifford addressed that at practice as well, that it's going to make some of these rotation decisions that he has coming up very difficult. Because now, I mean, he did not envision Dwayne Bacon being someone that was going to demand time in the rotation. That's not normal. As excited as they were about him, as much as they targeted him in that second round, it's just not normal for a second rounder to do that. And it's not normal for the Charlotte Hornets to keep a second rounder. So that has been a silver lining, an unexpected result for the Hornets, and they will have to look into that. I also noticed in that clip, David, that he said that the Hornets they're making their way. David, they're making their way.
I totally caught that.
Did you catch that?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows.
Woo! I'm pumped, man. It's Friday. I hate it for I used to work weekends, and I used to hate when people would say, oh, man, it's Friday. Are you excited it's Friday? I'm like, no, dude, I work the weekends. I work overnight. Of course I'm not excited it's Friday. And you know when I started being excited about Friday? As soon as I stopped working the weekends.
You had a case of the Fridays, as it were.
Hey, Nick Batum also practiced yesterday and ran through some of the smaller contact drills, so some 2-on-2, some 1-on-1, hooping it up, running, jumping, all the things the basketball players do. Further evidence that his own speculation that he could return November 15th when the Hornets return to Charlotte to play the Cavaliers could become a reality. A lot of it will depend on how he progresses in the next 4 days between tonight's game and the next. The Hornets will surely work in multiple practices here back in Charlotte, and Batum will get a chance to get some 5-on-5 contact. I don't think he's done that yet. He's not run the scrimmages. So you got to see how he does with that. But he has run contact drills, and I think that is going to go a long way in figuring out when he can play. For Batum's part, he hasn't just been sitting back and resting on his laurels. No, he's been a mainstay at practice, and he's been watching on the sidelines during games.
I try to look at Dwight games, let us know when he wants the ball, the way he ducks in, the way he wants the ball inside, and the way Frank's playing right now, the way Jalen's playing right now, how I can get Malik open. So that was a good, maybe I tried to get the positive side about everything, so I learned a lot the last 6 weeks.
Trying to stay positive, David, is that a positive sign that the first thing he mentions is looking at Dwight Howard and how he can get him the ball?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what he talked about before to start the season, too, how he was going to make a point of doing that. I mean, the Hornets have done a pretty good job of that, I'd say, in his absence. But Batum is going to be able to maybe help with some of those turnovers. I don't know. I mean, maybe Batum can get the ball to him in a little better position. Maybe he's seeing something, right? Maybe he's seeing something that he can help Dwight with. So, I think he's going to play. I think he's really gearing up to play next Wednesday from everything that Clifford has said. Said he really wants to play, and it just sounds like it's headed that way, Doug. And I know that makes you a little nervous, but I know he wants to be out there.
Well, it does make me nervous because I think he is so central to any Hornets playoff success that they may have. First, you got to get to the playoffs. Okay, so if he's hurt anymore this season for extended time, that threatens that. But then if you want to win a first-round series, I think you need Kemba Walker, Dwight Howard, and Nick Batum all healthy, because this is a puzzle. The Hornets are a puzzle. That's why Steve Clifford wants to get to these playing groups, because the teams like the Cavaliers, they're a mental puzzle, but they're not a basketball puzzle. Teams like the Celtics aren't a puzzle because you go to your main scorers and they score, and you go to your main defenders and they defend. And you don't need multiple pieces all healthy at the same time. You just need your one or two best players, and you can go out there and win some tough games on the road in the playoffs. But the Hornets are not like that. They've got to have these main pieces all healthy, all in a groove. And it's especially important for Nick Batum, who's going to take pressure off of Kemba Walker. We've seen Kemba have to isolate so much, create for himself so much. Same with Jeremy Lamb. Think about the offensive execution issues that they've had against New York, against Milwaukee, and in other games, late in games, when they've had to, Malik Monk, Kemba Walker, Jeremy Lamb, have had to isolate and have had to create for themselves. I think it would not be like that if Nick Batum was in the lineup. So, important to get him back, but at the same time, I am concerned about re-injury. So the staff is normally conservative, but you heard how, I'm going to use your word, David, exasperated Steve Clifford was at practice, wanting to it's like, give me my 15. Give me my, 14 really, but give me my full crew. Just for one game. Let me get the full crew in here and figure out how these guys are all going to play together.
Injuries are a part of it, but last year with Cody out so many games, and you're right, they need all their pieces, but they also need to play the way that's going to maximize their chance to win. And that's, playing tough defense, staying locked in for an entire game, which they did not do up in New York. Really didn't do, against Milwaukee, the last win here. I think Clifford warned them against some of that lackadaisical play down the stretch. So they, the margin for error to this team has always been slim. It's getting better once they add more pieces that can play, but it's still not to the point where they can just go out and half-ass it on any given night and not have everyone healthy. I mean, they can still win games, but to maximize their potential, clearly they need everybody healthy.
Daniel on the live chat. By the way, you can join the Nest. Join the live chat here, youtube.com/Locked On Hornets. Danny on the chat saying, Batum back on the 15? Big if true. Batum goes the dynamite.
Oh, yes!
Okay. There's also something else that happened at practice, or at least was caught at practice by our good friend Rick Bonnell from the Charlotte Observer, and he has an eagle eye, and he spotted old Dwight Howard taking some jump shots. And David, this is something we've seen early in games. Dwight, basically, he's testing this. This is in beta, basically. This is iOS 11.2 right now, trying to get
iOS
out
12.
Right, trying to get out the errors in this shot. And you can see working with shooting coach Bruce Kretzer there and going off glass with the little Timmy
Working
D.
the glass.
What do you think about this?
You saw that. There was a game he tried to go off glass, and he's tried to take that shot a couple times too.
Yeah. Is this exciting to you? Dwight Howard from 16 feet off glass?
You know why this is exciting? One, it's Dwight Howard from 16 feet off glass. You never know what could happen. And two, it's keeping Dwight happy. I mean, honestly, I think you have to build some of that into your game plan. We heard what happened in Atlanta last year. We've seen, some of the history. I think that's going to keep him, engaged. Well, and look, he's knocking them down.
If this isn't exciting for you, how about now? Key change.
Let's go! Oh, man.
Not many people know about the second verse of the Cheers theme song. But it's lit. That was it. That was the key change. Fun Friday request. Compare Hornets. This is from Amber here on the chat. Fun Friday request. Compare Hornets roster with the cast of Cheers. Okay. Now that's an idea. We got to prep for that.
Well, yeah, just right off the dome, I'm going to say Woody is Lamb. Sam is Kimba. Norm is Frank.
Okay. I'd go with Norm as Nick
Cliff?
Batum. Understated, brings the whole group together. Everybody loves him. Everybody loves Batum. No one will say a bad word about Batum. Batum is Cliff, Daniel says. I could see Batum. Batum is. Oh, see, okay, that confused me because I was thinking Cliff.
Yeah, you thought
Batum is Cliff.
We have to draw that out a little bit.
Cliff's the guy everyone gets frustrated with, though, right? The mailman.
Yeah, he annoys everybody. I don't think they have a Cliff. Now.
I don't think so. PJ Hairston. Okay, let's talk about this Boston game. The Celtics come into this one on a 10-game winning streak. They are playing in Boston tonight. Tip-off set for 7:30. These weird East Coast 7:30 tips. The Northeast, they're just like, no, we're not tipping at 7 o'clock. It's got to be a traffic thing, right? It's got to be a TV thing.
It's a big city, man. It's a big city. They got a lot of stuff to do.
Well, the Celtics will have a lot of players to filter into this lineup because they're not going to have Al Horford. He's out officially with a concussion. He's still in the concussion protocol. Possibly no Jason Tatum. He suffered an injury in their last game against the Los Angeles Lakers to his ankle. Was in a walking boot. So possibly no Jason Tatum. And listen, Tatum has played about as well as any rookie that's not named Ben Simmons. I mean, he's proven what everyone thought about him, which is that he is the most NBA ready of any of the rookies. Has been able to knock down his three, been very athletic. David, what have you thought about Jason Tatum?
Man, I've been shocked at how well he's adjusted because even though I thought he was maybe the best fit, like for the Hornets, a wing guy that's really skilled on offense, I thought it'd take a little time to get his shooting involved or just to get him comfortable. I mean, he only played one season at Duke, but man, he has just slid right in there. I think a lot of that credit goes to him. Obviously, a lot of that credit goes to the coaching staff and Brad Stevens up there as well. But also, I mean, that wasn't expected because without Hayward going down, he's probably not playing those big minutes or in the key situations every night. So, I mean, man, that's just look at what the Hornets rookies are doing for him, and the Celtics rookies are giving them that same boost to go along with some of their other players. So, big boost for him, man.
And what the big question I think for the Celtics and in this game is if they're without Al Horford, if they're without Jason Tatum, what does that do to their league-leading defense? They are first in the league in points per possession allowed. They are first in the league in effective field goal percentage allowed. They don't turn the ball over. They do a great job of offensive rebounding, and they keep teams off the free throw line. And we know when the Hornets have been successful this season, they have gotten to the free throw line for 20-plus attempts. And right now, the Celtics are allowing 17.8 free throws per game. So if the Hornets can get to the line, can attack the rim, David, I think that they've got to get this ball to the rim in this one because they're going to be without their main front court players, and the Celtics do such a great job of being aggressive on three-point shooters. They switch a lot. A lot of that has to do with the fact that Kyrie Irving struggles in the pick and roll on defense, and so they switch a lot, and they've got guys like Marcus Morris and other athletic defenders that can get up in your shirt, and they play really aggressive up front, and they're allowing a lot at the rim. So the Hornets have to be aggressive offensively.
Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, two
yeah.
guys
Brown!
that can really cause some problems. Brown's been the other guy that's really been fantastic. I mean, well, not the only other guy, but the other young guy that's really been fantastic for them this season. From the first game, he has just acclimated himself so well to being in the NBA his second season. And along with Kyrie Irving and Marcus Smart out there, they just cause a lot of problems. And we haven't even mentioned Kyrie. He's been pretty fantastic so far, Doug.
Well, offensively, if you just look at the numbers, if you really dig into the box score,
Sure.
his efficiency is down. His scoring is down year over year from when he played with LeBron James in Cleveland. But the Celtics are on a 10-game winning streak, and part of the reason for that is they've been able to count on Kyrie Irving and his amazing dribbling act in the fourth quarter to get open and knock down shots or get to the rim. At the end of games, he has sealed or saved several of those wins during that 10-game winning streak. Defensively, now, everybody likes to crush on Kyrie Irving and his defense. But I think if you ask anyone who pays close attention to the Boston Celtics, he is playing happier. He's more content. He's definitely willing to talk about that and to talk about how he's playing for a real organization now, quote unquote. And he is engaged defensively. He has his issues in the pick and roll, and the Boston Celtics and Brad Stevens they're doing some things, David, to hide him in the pick and roll. They're switching him onto bigs, and then if the ball doesn't go to his side of the pick and roll, then they'll often switch back on the weak side. And that's alleviated some of the mismatch issues that you would have with Kyrie Irving. So the Hornets have to recognize that, I think. Attack, if Kyrie Irving, if they're going to switch Kyrie Irving onto Marvin Williams or on, God forbid, on Dwight Howard, then attack that mismatch early. Recognize it. That's another key to the game.
Yeah. You know what concerns me about this game is that the Celtics really go they basically go 9 deep. You know what I mean? I mean, you got, well, not tonight, I guess, without Horford, and we'll see what Tatum does. But look, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, Marcus Morris, Aaron Baines, and Semi Ojeleye that you mentioned yesterday, Doug. I mean,
love me some Semi.
Yeah, that's what's been killing the Hornets recently, too. I mean, look at the Knicks. McDermott beat them, basically. O'Quinn was giving them problems. So, yeah, the stars are going to get theirs. But when you couple that with the fact that Kyrie has been so good at distributing to these other guys, getting them the ball in places where they're comfortable, and they're on this big winning streak because of that. I mean, he's making them better players. And so that's, I think, concerning when the Hornets have had issues staying locked in, staying focused on some of these other guys. And their bench, has been good, has been better consistently, but has still laid an egg here or there. So I think it's going to be up to some of those other guys to stay locked in.
I think it's pretty clear why the Boston Celtics have still been able to be successful without Gordon Hayward, and I think will still be successful in this game without Al Horford, because they have their depth is in their physicality, right? Because they're bringing Semi Ojeleye off the bench. He's just a beast and not afraid to get in your shirt, not afraid to push you around, bully ball. And Aaron Baines is crazy. And Daniel Theus off the bench is nuts will throw his body around, not afraid to get physical with you. So the bigs that they have are they're just beasts. And they're going to lose some skill. That's the thing. If Horford and Tatum miss, they're going to miss some shots. But they're still going to be defensively okay because they've just got a bunch of crazy people off the bench. And I'll say this about Semi. This is an amazing number, okay? He averages 14 minutes per game. His usage is at 8.7%. The ball never finds him. That's last in the league in terms of forwards, according to Cleaning the Glass. But his points per shot attempt is 117.2, which is in the 67th percentile. So he's in the top third in the league among forwards at points per shot attempt, and the ball barely finds him. That's incredible.
And all those guys are confident, right, Doug? Like, you see this on really good teams when guys get tapped for, a couple minutes out of nowhere after not having played maybe the night before or the week before. They just go in and play with such confidence and are able to be effective in short spurts. And that's what you're seeing with those guys right now, man. It's going to be a tough one, Doug. But obviously it helps having Horford out. But I think Morris has played really well for them too. And he gives them some of the same issues, the Hornets that is, with his ability to step out and hit the three. They'll ask Marvin, I'm sure, to shadow him and keep him under control. But like Kyrie makes all this stuff go. He's got to be up there in the MVP conversation for me right now, Doug. I mean, look what he's doing for this team in the East, of course, but been pretty special.
All right, we're talking about this matchup tonight against the Boston Celtics, 7:30 tip, a very important game for the Charlotte Hornets. They are 0-3 on this 4-game road trip, a chance for them to erase some of the sins of this road trip. I don't think people are going to remember that Al Horford missed this game. If Jason Tatum misses this game, people aren't going to remember that Jason Tatum missed this game. They're just going to remember that the Hornets got a win over the best team in the Eastern Conference, a team that was on a 10-game winning streak. And I think it will do, if they win this game, the Hornets pull this thing out, it's going to be huge for their confidence heading into 4 days rest. And really we say, rest, but they're going to be practicing. And I'd rather have the Hornets confident, feeling good, feeling like they've got some hope against a Cleveland team that struggled on defense this season. Now, I think the Hornets have to win this game. They've got to win this game. I'm not saying must win, but I'm saying no. I'm not saying. No, listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth, David. I'm not saying must win. I'm saying they have to win.
Okay, I hear you.
Okay, what else do I want to talk about in this matchup? Let's see. Celtics great on defense. Hornets have been great on offense, not so great at defense.
I think the boards,
You mentioned Marvin Williams having to guard Marcus Morris. So one of the big things that has led to a lot of success for the Celtics against the Charlotte Hornets is the fact that they've always had to put, no matter if Horford was playing center or power forward, they've always had to put Marvin Williams on to Al Horford, because of Horford's ability to stretch the floor. Okay?
Yep.
They don't have to do that tonight. They can allow Marvin Williams to smother Marcus Morris, who's only played, this will only be his 4th game of the season, missed some time with a sore ankle at the beginning of the year, and didn't get a lot of time in preseason because there was the trade, and then there was an issue, and I don't know, he couldn't get into preseason. So you get Marvin on him, you get Dwight. Man, I'm telling you, I cannot wait for Dwight Howard versus Aaron Baines. Dwight's got to keep his head, though. That's the one thing.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you think back to preseason, and it got a little heated, got a little under his skin.
He's all of Australia. He's in the shower. I'm just gonna watch. By the way, I'm watching the Celtics broadcast. I don't care.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna take a night away from Eric, Dell, and Steph and listen to Tommy.
Yeah, man, Baines and how, but don't you think? I think Dwight has been pretty under control as far as that goes this season. I mean, obviously got fined a little bit for communicating with the fans via wrestling moves the other night, but so far, I think he's been able to stay pretty much engaged and on task.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to see those rebounding numbers go back to where they were in October when he was dominating 15, getting 15 boards a night. That'd be nice in this one. The Boston Celtics, they're a disciplined rebounding team. Where are they in the league in rebounding? I know it's high. Yeah, fifth.
Total rebounds they're up there.
Fifth in total rebounds. I was trying to answer this question for someone on the chat. I know the Hornets are middle of the road both offensively and defensively in terms of rating. Wanted to get an exact number here for quote. So offensive rating, the Hornets are 16th in the league at 104.2. Defensive rating, they are 16th in the league, 103.8. So right in the middle of the road, basically where they were last season, right in the middle of the NBA. That's not where the Hornets need to be. They've got to be, according to Coach Clifford, for playoff success to happen, the Hornets have to be top 5 defensively, and he believes this team, when they're fully healthy, can be a top 10 offense as well. Okay, before we get out of here, David, on this fun Friday, what do you need to see from the Hornets tonight? I mean, just bottom line, what do you need to see from the Hornets against the Celtics when they tip things off at 7:30?
Well, one guy that we didn't really mention in our preview, Doug, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. If he's hopefully, I believe he's going to be back on the floor. They can put him on Kyrie some, but I think he's going to help them stay engaged for the full 48. I mean, that's been the problem. They didn't do it against the Knicks. They didn't really do it against the Bucks. They scraped by there, but that's what Clifford begs for. It is a bit of a broken record, Doug. I mean, honestly, I understand why fans can get frustrated when they see these losses pile up kind of the same way they have in the past. And Clifford comes out preaching the same things. But you mentioned at the top of the show, that's what the Hornets have to do to win. They have to stay true to who they are. They need to get a little fortunate in the injury department, but they got to play that way to win most nights. Their offense has been good, Doug. 113 points should win you games in the NBA. It sure as heck should win you a game when you're up 15, even on the road in New York. So they got to stay locked in for the full game tonight.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say, well, you got to slow Kyrie down. Well, that's easier said than done. I think that you just have to force Kyrie into tough shots that he may or may not hit. You're probably not going to prevent him from scoring 25 tonight, especially without Al Horford in the lineup and possibly Jay. If they're missing 2 starters, then you're going to get a heavy dose of Kyrie. His usage rate is already above 30. The ball already finds Kyrie on most possessions when he's on the floor. So it's going to be tough to slow him down, but if you can do your best on 1 out of every 2 possessions, keeping him from getting into the middle of the floor, then I think you have a much better shot at winning this ball game. So, it's just I see you got to slow Kyrie down. Well, Kyrie's one of these players. He's one of the few players in the league. This is what makes him a superstar, that he can essentially get to the spot on the floor that he wants to. He knows where he wants to go, and he can get there by any means necessary because of how fantastic he is at handling the ball.
Yeah, and to that point, I think you've got to make it difficult on the other guys. You've got to slow him down in terms of making it comfortable for the rest of those guys to play well. I mean, he's going to get his points-wise, but anything you can do to hinder the Browns and, the Marcus Smarts, you're not too worried about him. But if he gets going and gives them anything on offense, that's a bad sign.
Marcus Smart right now in the 5th percentile in terms of points per shot attempt among wings. All that preseason success that he had from beyond the arc has completely gone away. I think you can ease up a little bit on Marcus Smart and shade some extra attention towards Kyrie. And then Jack here making a great point. I'm wary of predicting Kemba Walker going crazy tonight because they could put Marcus Smart on him. Yeah, we've seen that over and over, right? I mean, Kyrie is not going to be able to stay with Kemba Walker one-on-one, and vice versa. Kemba Walker is not going to be able to stay on Kyrie. So you're going to have 2 teams that are going to get a little funny with the matchups and to try to contain each of the opposing point guards. That makes for fun basketball. That's going to open some other guys up, and we'll just have to see how it turns out. So 7:30 tonight. Follow us on Twitter. We're going to be live tweeting the game. Thanks so much for listening and watching us here on Locked On Hornets this entire week. It's been fun, and we really enjoy all of the things that you guys do for us in terms of listening, in terms of watching, in terms of subscribing to us on Patreon, patreon.com/LOH. We've got some exciting announcements coming up possibly next week and possibly having to do, David, with T-shirts. Everybody loves T-shirts.
Merch.
We got some merch possibly on the way. So keep it locked in here on Locked On Hornets. We're back next week with much more of the analysis and fun that you've come to love from Locked On Hornets. Thanks so much, guys. For David, I'm Doug. Go Hornets. Go America. Beat the Celtics. Let's swarm, Charlotte.
Doug.
Yeah.
Doug. Take us out. Just one more time. Take us out.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.